Shall we start?
Sir, please start. Good afternoon, students. Sir, please start, sir.
Okay. Good afternoon, dear friends. In our last session, we discussed about gratuity. What will the tax treatment of gratuity amount received, pension, commuted, uncommuted, and leave encashment. Do you have any query from our earlier session? Do you have any? My screen is visible. Am I audible? Sanjeev, are we live?
Sir, you are audible, sir.
And my screen, my presentation is visible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Dear student, do you have any query from our earlier discussions? Presuming, I'm presuming that you don't have any query from our discussion. Be careful. I am again repeating. Screen is not. I think it is visible right now. I am not showing my screen. Okay. Uh, uh, After the completion of this salary chapter, we will conduct a self-assessment test. That means few questions will be given to you. You are supposed to give answer to them, and that is nothing to do with your examination, nothing to do with the ICMI. We are check whether what we are communicating it is properly conveyed to you or not. Okay, we will do some assessment right from the very beginning, that is from the basic concept to salary. Okay, now next one is retrenchment compensation. What is retrenchment? Suppose you fired your employee, fired your worker. Rather than employee, you may use this term with worker. In that scenario, as per Industrial Dispute Act, you are supposed to pay certain compensation to him. Following of the lower of the following shall be exempted. Actual amount received by that employee, maximum of rupees 5 lakh, and compensation as per Industrial Disputes Act, whichever is lower shall be uh, exempted in the hands of the recipient under section 1010B. However, while the compensation is as per certain scheme which is approved by the central government, then nothing shall be taxable. Now come to VRS, Voluntary Retirement Scheme. What compensation received at the time of VRS, Voluntary Retirement Scheme. What is it? What is voluntary retirement? Any idea? Any idea? Someone is asking that what are all the items that are not taken into account during the salary calculation? I am not able to understand your query. Please reframe once again at the last when this session will be concluded. Before that, please raise your query after reframing. Okay, what is voluntary retirement? Suppose uh, your organization is working with say 500 employees. Now your organization is thinking that the work, the strength of 500 is not required. The employees required that they thought that we only need 200 employee. Okay, so what they will do with this 300 employee? With due respect, what they will do with this 300 employee? If they fire them, then it might be hurt their reputation, and firing 300 employees at a stretch may raise some labor issues, labor tussles. So what they launch? They launch voluntary retirement scheme. What is it? They will say, please take please take retirement voluntarily from the organization, and in lieu of that, we will pay certain compensation to you. If people ready with this scheme, they will retire. They will take retirement from the company, even though their retirement age is yet to be arrived. Say, as per company policy, retirement age is 60 years. Even though the person may take retirement, even though he did not attain this age, he may take the benefit of this scheme. In lieu of that retirement, he will take compensation. And now the question arises, since he is getting some money from his employer, what will be the tax treatment of this compensation? Okay, we are discussing that part. One minute, there is some issue. What will the tax treatment of this compensation received at the time of voluntary retirement from the employment? Condition for exemption. Number one, compensation is received from a specified employer. That means it is not like that. I am working at the office, my father premises, at my father business. I am working as a salaried, and I took a voluntary retirement from that concern, and my father pay handsome amount to me. It is not like that. The scheme, you are getting that compensation from specified employer. Here is the definition of a specified employer. That is the big concerns. That means company, that is a public sector undertaking, central, state or provincial act, local authority, cooperative society, specified university, IIMs, and the Indian Institute of Foreign Trade, New Delhi, or certain other new notified institutions. If you are an employee of these concerns, that is the company or any public sector undertaking, local authority, cooperative societies, specified universities, IIT and IIMs, and certain notified institution, then only if you are getting voluntary retirement compensation from this type of employer, then only you will get the benefit of section 1010C. Otherwise, whatever you are receiving as voluntary retirement scheme, it will be fully taxable. However, if your employer is among these, then whatever compensation received by you is eligible for certain exemption under section 1010C. Next, compensation is received as per VRS framed in accordance with the prescribed guidelines. It is not like that since you are working with some specified employer and whatever you get, you are eligible for deduction or exemption. It is not like that. Further, one more criteria is that you are getting compensation as per VRS scheme, and that VRS scheme should be framed considering the certain guidelines. What are the guidelines? What are the guidelines? These are the guidelines which is prescribed under Rule 2BA. Number one, these guidelines should be followed while framing the voluntary retirement scheme by the employer. Number one, scheme, that is VRS scheme, must be applicable to all employees other than director. That means VRS scheme is applicable, the VRS scheme framed by the company or your employer is applicable to all type of employee other than director who have either completed age of 40 years or has completed 10 years of service. That means suppose you are working with a company and you are the age of 35 years and you are working since last 2 years. Since your age is not 35, you did not cross the 40 years of your age and you are working for less than 10 years, then this scheme is not for you. However, on the other side, if you are 42 years old and you are working for last 2 years with this company, if you take the voluntary retirement, then it's fine. You are satisfying this condition. What are the conditions? The scheme must be applicable to all employees who have either completed age of 40 years, since you completed your age of 40 years, or has completed 10 years of service. Though you did not complete 10 years of service with the company, but you completed 40 years, henceforth this scheme is for you. This condition, that was 40 or 10 years of service, is not applicable in case the employee of a public sector company. If you are an employee of public sector company, then this condition is not applicable on you. Next, such a scheme must be framed to reduce the number of employees. We already discussed that our earlier strength was 500. Now we think that we can work with 200 number of employees. So we are supposed to reduce our working strength from 500 to 200. That means we are supposed to remove 300 employees. The such scheme must be framed. The ultimate goal of this scheme framed by the company should be to reduce the number of employees, and the vacancy, whatever the vacancy caused by the VRS, voluntary retirement, should not be filled up by the company. That means the post which is remain vacant due to this voluntary retirement taken up by the employees, this post cannot be filled up. The retiring employee is not to be employed in another company or concern belonging to the same management. Suppose X Limited is a company. His employee is Mr. Y. A Limited is also a company. They are company under the same management. Now Y took the VRS from this company and joined the company A Limited. That is not possible. It should not be done. Number next. The amount of compensation does not exceed. Whatever the compensation company is paying, that is not like that any amount of money they paid and the entire money shall be exempted. The amount should not exceed either of these two things. Number one, the amount equivalent to 3 months salary for each completed year of service. For example, suppose you work for 10 years. You work for 10 years. For each year's 3 months salary shall be allowed. That means maximum compensation cannot exceed 30 months salary. At this point, what is your salary? Multiply by 30. Your maximum compensation should be like this one. Or your maximum compensation, there are two another way. Suppose at present you are at 58 years and that as per company policy, a person can retire at the age of 60 years. So remaining tenure is for 24 months. Maximum compensation may be 24 months into salary, present salary. That means your compensation should not exceed either for 30 months salary or 24 months salary. Whatever the company policy framed by the company, your employer, your compensation should not exceed either of these two things. Got it? If all these conditions are fulfilled, then whatever the amount received as per guidelines or rupees 5 lakh, whichever is lower, be careful, whichever is lower shall be exempted. That means maximum you can claim exemption deduction up to rupees 5 lakh from compensation received at the time of voluntary retirement. Got it? Any question? Any question? Salary here means we discussed that 30 month salary. 30 months salary. Then salary means again same thing, basic plus DA forming part of retirement benefit plus fixed percentage of commission on turnover. We already know what is this last drawn. At the moment you are taking VR scheme, the benefit of this VR scheme at that time, your basic is rupees 10,000. Your DA forming part of retirement is 2,000. Your DA not forming part of retirement benefit is 3,000 plus your commission on turnover is rupees 1,000. So this 13,000 shall be considered as your salary. You maximum you are entitled for 30 months into 13,000 or rupees 5 lakh, whichever is lower. Got it? And one more thing. There was a movie of Shah Rukh Khan where he's saying that आदमी एक बार मरता है एक बार प्यार करता है. On the same line, the person is retiring once in life. That means the benefit under section 1010C, a person can take once. The benefit of section 1010C, you can take the benefit of section 1010C once in your life. If once you take the benefit of section 1010C, then forget this section for you. Then this section is not for you. That is once in a lifetime you can take the benefit of section 1010C. You can take the benefit of VRS under section 1010C only once in your life. Though you may suppose you join another organization and from that organization too you took VRS, at that time that compensation is fully taxable. That means the benefit under section 1010C can be taken once in the life of the assessee. However, if you did not taken any benefit under section 1010C, then relief under section 89 is available. What is the relief under section 89? We will discuss in our subsequent chapters. Okay. Any question till now? Do you have any question now? Guidelines, the fifth point. Guidelines. There are 5 rules which we are supposed to follow while planning our compensation scheme. The employer should frame the scheme considering these guidelines. Number 1, the scheme is applicable to all employees other than director who have attained the age of 40 years or has completed 10 years of service. However, this condition is not applicable in case of public sector company. Number 2, the strength should be reduced. VRS, the vacancy caused by VRS should not be filled up. The retiring employees should not be employed in another sister concern. The last one, the compensation, how to calculate amount of compensation. There are 2 ways to calculate amount of compensation. Number 1, your organization may frame the scheme that suppose you worked for 10 years, for each completed year of service, we will give a compensation of 3 months. That means for 1 year, we will allow you 3 months. That means altogether 30 months salary. You can take 30 months salary from us as a VRS compensation. Or another way to compute compensation by your employer is, suppose at this moment you are age of 58 years. And as per the company policy, you are supposed to retire by 60 years. When you attain the age of 60 years, you will be retired. Now, at this moment, your age is 58 years. Now, what will be the remaining months of tenure? I think 2 years you have the tenure of service, multiply by 12, that is months. In a year, there is a 12 month. That can I say your tenure of service is still pending is 24 months. Do one thing, take the salary of this 24 months as a voluntary retirement compensation, 24 months into salary. Your compensation, the scheme framed by your employer regarding compensation should follow either this way or this way. But in any circumstances, if your employer frame the scheme like you can take the amount equivalent to 5 months salary for each completed service. If this is the clause in your compensation scheme, then nothing shall be allowed to you as an exemption under section 1010C. Since the scheme framed by your employer is framed without following these guidelines. As per these guidelines, your compensation amount should not exceed 3 months salary for each completed year of service. Got it? Any question? VRS scheme is not for the benefit under section 1010C is not for the employees of an individual, that is a sole proprietorship concern, individual or employees of a firm, HUF, AOP, BOI, etc. That means whatever you are getting as a voluntary retirement scheme from individual, from proprietorship concern, though the scheme was framed as per given guidelines, entire amount of compensation received by you shall be fully taxable. Why? The scheme is framed by as per prescribed guidelines, but your employer is not an specified employer. These 12 conditions should be fulfilled for claiming benefit under section 1010C. In case you are the employee of proprietorship concern, you are not a employee of a specified employer. Since this conditions is not fulfilled, henceforth you cannot take the benefit of section 1010C. Got it? Any question? Apart instead of guideline 1, which criteria work for public sector company employee? All other conditions all other guidelines should be fulfilled. Move forward. I move forward. Is it clear to all? Now, annuity. What is annuity? What is annuity? Anyone? What do you mean by annuity? In math, we know that pay rupees 1 lakh to me for, this is an example. This is a very rough example for annuity. Please pay rupees 1 lakh to me for subsequent 15 years. Each year you pay rupees 1 lakh, and after 16 years, I will pay rupees 5,000 monthly to you. 5,000 per month to you. Since what you are getting, this is known as annuity. This is monthly. What you are getting, that is annuity. Now, what will be the tax treatment of this annuity schemes? If annuity is payable by present employer, whether voluntarily or contractual, it is fully taxable as salary. Why? Whatever you are getting from your employer, and the capacity of employer and employee is considered as a salary. Hence, that's why whether it is an annuity, whether it is a salary, whether it is a commission or bonus, it will be taxable as salary. If annuity is received from an ex-employer, anything received from your former employer, present employer, or prospective employer is treated as salary. Whether it is a profit in lieu of salary or salary, it will be taxable under the head salary. Don't worry about that thing. If you are getting annuity from a person other than employer, like insurance company, there are certain this type of plan with insurance company. If you are getting money, you are getting annuity from your insurance company, then can I say that between you and your insurance company, can I say there is no relationship of employer and employee? If there is no employer-employee relationship exists between the insurance company and you, then it will be not treated as salary income. Then where it will be treated? Then it will be taxable as income from other sources. Got it? Any question? Any question? Salary received in lieu of notice period. For example, suppose Mr. X is there. He is working with A Limited. One fine day, as per company rules, if Mr. X is supposed to resign from the job of A Limited, then he is supposed to give notice of 2 months. And vice versa. If A Limited is supposed to fire Mr. X, then he is supposed to give minimum notice of 2 months. Now, what happened? The management of A Limited taught Mr. X for what? He is passing certain information, to say B Limited. They are anti-party. So A Limited management thought, since he is passing information to B Limited, it is very dangerous to us. We are supposed to fire him. Mr. X, you are fired. Mr. X says, "Oh, A Limited, dear A Limited, you cannot fire me on the spot. Just give me 2 months notice. Only after that I can be removed from my post. Now A Limited is thinking that if he works for 2 months more, then he may pass more information to B Limited, which is not good for the company, which is not good for A Limited. So what is the solution? What is the solution? How A Limited will manage this type of situation? How A Limited will manage this situation? Someone is asking that annuity from charitable gift taxable. Which charitable trust is giving you annuity? I don't think. Now, in this situation, how will A Limited will treat this situation? How A Limited will handle this situation? If they retain that Mr. X for 2 more months, then what type of information he may pass to B Limited, which is more dangerous for A Limited. So what they can do? Look, Mr. X, we are not supposed to retain you for this 2 months. Just took 2 months salary and stay at home. Whatever you want to do, you do. I just take money for 2 months. Whatever your salary, just take 2 months money and go to your home. Now, Mr. X got 2 months of salary without serving. That means Mr. X is getting salary in lieu of notice period. A Limited is supposed to issue notice of 2 months to X Limited before firing him. Instead of giving that notice, they give him salary for 2 months and fired him. Since Mr. X is getting this money from his present employer, which might be now X, this money is treated as salary income and will be taxable in hands of Mr. X fully. Got it? Got it? Any question? This salary will be treated as this receipt of 2 months salary by Mr. in hands of Mr. X will be treated as fully taxable as salary income. I think it is clear to you. Profit in lieu of salary, section 17(3), that is your homework. Just go through it, this provision at your home. Allowances. What are allowances? What is the meaning of allowances? Any idea? Allowances. Think about the person. Suppose there are two employees. One is employed at A Limited and another one is employed at B Limited. Both of them are friend. Here Mr. A and here Mr. B. Mr. A per month salary is 20,000. Okay. B per month salary is 10,000. I am making it 15,000. Okay. Apart from this 15,000 per month salary, his employer, that is B Limited, is giving 2,000 per month for entertainment. Named as entertainment allowance. 3,000 per month for house rent. So once a day, Mr. A and B meet in a cinema hall. They discussed between themselves that what is your salary? Mr. A said 20,000 per month. Mr. B said my employer is giving 2,000 per month for entertainment. So this movie, the cost of watching this movie is nil to me. Now Mr. A will feel some inferiority. Don't you think so? He is not supposed to compare this one with this one. He just comes to know about this one. My friend's employer is very good. He is giving rupees 2000 per month for watching movies. So I am supposed to ask my employer, give me this type of facility to me, give rupees 2000 per month for entertainment. I am very puzzled by doing this job. Please allow this 2000 per month. Now, what happened? The inferiority complex come into the mind of Mr. A, which is more dangerous. Though he is getting equivalent amount 20,000 and here too 20,000. But what Mr. B Limited has done, B Limited brought down his salary into different component. 15,000 is your basic salary, 2,000 is for entertainment, 3,000 for your house rent allowance. When your kid is born, we will allow 100 rupees per month for your children education. Like this, B Limited brought the salary component into different parts. So suppose some union comes and say your working environment is very stressful, so you are not giving any entertainment to them, so please raise his salary. Now B Limited can say that no sir, we are giving 2000 rupees per month for entertaining our employees, so to release their stress, we are very good employer, though both of them are paying same money. If same union person visit to A Limited, your working environment is very stressful, your company is not allowing any entertainment allowance to your employees, so please give 2000 rupees per month as an entertainment allowance. Though A Limited and B Limited are paying equal salary to same rank of employees, but in eye of social, so from the point of view of social network, B Limited is better employer. Don't you think so? Don't you think so? What is your thinking regarding B Limited and A Limited? What is your thinking regarding A Limited and B Limited? Who is better employer? Though both of them are paying rupees 20,000 per month to their employees, but from the point of social or from the psychology point of view, who is better employer? Is it B Limited or A Limited? Who is better? Please, suggest. Please provide your suggestion in the comment box. Who is better employer? A Limited or B Limited? I believe it is B Limited who, though he's paying equivalent money, but from social point of view, he is taken care each and everything, whether it is entertainment, whether it is for housing. That means he is breaking down. He whatever he want to pay, he is just breaking these salary into different component, different allowances. These are known as allowances. Got it? Allowances means fixed quantum of money given regularly in addition to salary to meet particular requirement. The name of particular allowance may reveal the nature of requirement. Example, house rent allowance. Obviously, it is for payment of housing rent. Tiffin allowance, medical allowance to meet the expenditure of medical. It is up to Mr. B whether to incur this expenditure for entertainment or to save it for future. It is up to B. B Limited will never ask how you expand this 2000 rupees, whether it is for in entertainment or whether you saved in your fixed deposit or you bought certain share. B Limited will never ask this question. Just for the sake of presentation, they brought their salary into different component. That is known as allowances. Allowances means fixed quantum of money. Be careful. Fixed quantum of money given regularly in addition to salary is known as allowances. Any question till now? Any till now? Oh, universally all are in favor with B Limited. Now, be careful in case allowances versus perquisites. I am giving medical allowances. What do you mean by this thing? 2,000 per month to my employee. And I am giving medical facility up to rupees 24,000 per annum. What is the difference between these two things? And is there any difference between these two? Is there any difference between these two terms? I am giving medical allowance of rupees 2,000 per month to my employee. And on the other hand, if I'm saying that I am providing medical facility up to rupees 24,000 per annum to my employees, that means be careful. If allowances is given, that means it is given in shape of money, no facility. And here it is in kind. If something is happened, then we will reimburse against your actual expenditure of up to rupees 24,000. This is in kind and this is given in money. That means allowances are given in money and perquisites when the same thing is given but in kind, then it is termed as perquisites. That is known as facility. For example, for another example, suppose your employer is giving you a car for official and personal use. Is it allowance? Is it allowance or perquisite? Your employer provided a car for official as well as personal use. Is it perquisite or allowance? On the other hand, one person is saying that since we do not own a car, do one thing, we will provide you a car allowance. The company is not company does not own a car. We are giving you a car allowance in lieu of car facility. Monthly amount is rupees say 5,000. Can you realize the difference? Here a monthly lump sum payment is given by the company. Here a car is provided. That means in kind the facility is provided. This, if the facility is provided, it is treated as perquisites, and where monthly lump sum is provided, it is treated as allowances. Be careful. Be careful. Be careful. Both will be treated differently for the purpose of computation of your income tax. Got it? First of all, did you notice the difference between perquisite and allowances? Did you notice the difference? What is the difference between perquisites and allowances? That means it is in non-cash format and this is in cash format. Very good. Got it? Now we are discussing about what will the tax treatment of allowances. We are not right now. We are not discussing the tax treatment of perquisite. That means if car facility is provided, it will be treated as perquisite. We will treat it differently in our subsequent session. Right now we are discussing about if allowances is given, that is a monthly payment is given to by your employer to you, and then how it will be treated. Okay, this is called allowances. One minute. Allowances at a glance. These are not the exhaustive list of the allowances. Allowances may be of any name, any nature, But in general, the name of the allowances reveal the what is the nature of allowances your employer is providing. For the purpose of taxation, allowances is divided into three parts. Rather than three, we can make it four. Number one, considering the tax treatment of allowances, we are divided allowances into three categories. Three, and one time you can also consider fourth category in few time. Number one, the exemption or deduction from that allowance depends on actual expenditure. Number two, deduction from that allowance, the exemption from that allowance depends on some limits. And other one is other. That means it might be fully taxable, it might be fully exempted. Okay. We are dividing allowances into three categories. The deduction or exemption, number one, deduction or exemption from that allowance depends on actual expenditure incurred by the employees or that type, the expenditure relating to that allowances. Number two, deduction or exemption from that allowances are depends on actual the certain limits which is prescribed by the income tax law. And third category is other allowances. It might be fully taxable or fully tax free. Got it? For example, there is an allowance called uniform allowance. There are few employers which requires that all employees should wear uniform. Then Mr. A rebel say that, sir, who will bear the cost of uniform? Who will bear the cost of uniform? The company, his employees say, don't worry, we will give you rupees 1,000 per month for uniform. Rupees 1,000 per month for your uniform. And he go to the market, bought 2 uniform. The cost of these 2 uniforms is say rupees 5,000. Now, what Mr. is getting? 12,000 he is getting. Out of that, actual expenditure incurred by Mr. A for this uniform is 5,000. This 5,000 shall be treated as exempted and remaining 7,000 shall be taxable. This one is exempt and this one is taxable. That means whatever actual expenditure incurred by A Limited for buying uniform is exempt and remaining amount is taxable. What happened if 15,000 is the cost of the uniform? In that case, 12,000 is he's getting 12,000 and the cost of uniform is 15,000. The maximum he will get deduction of rupees 12,000. That means nothing shall be taxable in hands of Mr. A on account of uniform allowances. Got it? Any question? Any query? Other category of allowances where some threshold limits are there, like children education allowance. Mr. A is there. He is saying that, sir, my son is admitted to St. Mary School. His employer is saying, yeah, oh, it's a very great news. The fee of the school is so high, and he make a story. So his employer is trying to say that, okay, we will compensate you through children education allowance. Now our expenditure is incurred, your expenditure is increased, so we will compensate you through children education allowance. And he provided rupees 500 per month as children education allowance. This is an example. We are not discussing right now each and every allowances. This is mere example to understand the category of allowance. As per income tax rules, if a person is getting children education allowance, then say rupees 100 per month is exempted for 2 kids. Since he is getting for only kid, then out of this 500, only 100 shall be treated as exempted. Remaining 400 per month shall be taxable. This will be taxable, this will be exempted. It might be the case the school fee for his children, for his kid, might be 200, might be 600, might be 500. Irrespective of this fact, the deduction is of only of rupees 100 per month. That means the deduction is freezed by the income tax law, income tax rules. If this is the example, that means I can say that this is the condition category 2 allowance, category 1 allowance, where deduction is applicable, where deduction depends on actual expenditure incurred by the employees. Number 2 category, where deduction or exemption depends on statutory limits, and category 3, where no deduction or no deduction is available, or it is fully exempted, or something else calculated on considering some else formula. If this is the situation, then it will fall into your third category. Got it? Any doubt about the categorization of allowances? Right, sir, please teach every allowances in order. Right now I did not teach any allowances. Got it? I just try to how to categorize the allowances. I'm trying to teach you that thing only. We will discuss each and every allowance. Don't worry about thing. Right now we are discussing how to categorize allowances. Got it? Any question? I think it is clear to you. Please respond. Is it clear to you? I am not discussing about uniform allowance. Just we are discussing that suppose in case of uniform allowance, your employer provided rupees 1000 per month for your uniform. So for a per annum, you are getting 12,000. So you visit into the market and bought 2 uniform, and the cost of the uniform is say 5,000 rupees. In that situation, your actual expenditure against uniform is 5,000, and how much money you got from your employer as a uniform allowance? You got 12,000 from your employer as an uniform allowance. However, you expended only 5,000. This 5,000 is exempt, and remaining 7,000 is taxable. That means your deduction or exemption depends on your actual expenditure. I am just trying to categorize the allowances. Okay. Is it clear? These are the simple chart. There might be n number of allowances by whatever name called it might be. There is endless, but you are supposed to categorize your allowances into this 3 part. Okay. Allowances under section 10(14)(1). Deduction from which depends upon actual expenditure, like uniform allowance. Number 2, these are the examples. These are not the exhaustive list. It is not possible to prepare exhaustive list for the allowances. You are supposed to categorize your allowance and apply your mind how to treat these allowances in under income tax law. Okay. Travel or transfer allowance, daily allowance, conveyance allowance, assistant allowance, professional development allowance. These are the example. Uniform allowance. That means against this allowance, whatever you incurred, you are entitled for deduction or exemption up to that level, up to that limit. Remaining amount shall be taxable in your hand. Category number 2, allowance under section 10(14)(2). Deduction from which do not depend upon actual expenditure, but there is a threshold limit, like children education allowance we discussed. 100 rupees per month shall be allowed. Children hostel allowance. We will discuss each and every allowance, whatever you've seen in the screen on the screen, we will discuss. These are the example of these categories. Number third category, that is called other category: house rent allowance, city compensatory, tiffin allowance, medical allowance, servant allowance. We will discuss one by one. Okay, got it. Apart from these, there are few allowances which are also there. We will discuss all of these one by one. Now you are comfortable with three category of allowances. Are you comfortable with three category of allowances? I'm again repeating. First of all, try to differentiate. First of all, try to differentiate between allowances and perquisites. If something is given in kind, then it will be treated as perquisite. Some facilities are given instead of money, that is treated as perquisites. And some money is given in lieu of something, that is known as allowances. At present, we are discussing this one, allowances, how to treat allowances, different allowances under income tax law. Okay, we are not at at this point of time, we are not discussing about how to treat perquisites. At this moment, we are simply discussing how to tackle allowances in income tax law. For the purpose of tax treatment of allowances, allowances are divided into three parts. Number one, can I say that allowances, this is another for your understanding, can I say it might be fully taxable, it might be fully exempt, and it might be partially taxable and partially exempt. I am again categorize this into two parts. How we will determine whether it is partially taxable and partially exempt, depending on actual expenditure or depending on some limit. Just copy down this one. What happened? Uh, Now I am back. Are you able to? Are you able to listen me? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. There was some technical glitch. Now my screen is visible. Now my screen is visible.
Yes, sir. Visible, sir. Visible.
Okay. Please copy this one. Allowances. Either it may be fully taxable, it may be fully exempt, or it may be partially taxable, partially exempt, depending on actual expenditure, or it might be depending on some limit. Considering this thing, I revealed this category. Allowances, exemption or deduction depends on actual expenditure. Deductions depends on certain limit prescribed by income tax law. And there is another category called other allowances. Here we can say few allowances might be taxable, few allowances might be tax exempted, and few are some other way to how to calculate exemption from that allowances. Got it? Just we are. I'm supposed to start PowerPoint also. 1 minute. So, is it clear to you what I'm trying to establish? I'm just trying to establish what are the type of allowances you may face. You may got what type of allowances. Okay. How to treat all these allowances? Now we are discussing allowances which are fully taxable. Now we are considering one by one allowances. Allowances which are fully taxable. That means without any deduction, whatever you got in the name of these allowances, it will be fully taxable in the eye of law. In the Income Tax Act, it is fully taxable. You are supposed to pay tax on it. Okay. Number one, city compensatory allowance. What is it? Suppose you are transferred, you are right now you are working at Mumbai, you are transferred to say Dehradun, or vice versa. Right now you are working at Dehradun, you are transferred to Mumbai at the same salary package. Do you think it is possible for you? There might be some extra expenditure you might incur by if you transfer from Dehradun to Mumbai. In that situation, your employer will compensate you by giving you city compensatory allowance. Whatever you are getting as city compensatory allowance, it is fully taxable. Tiffin allowance to meet the expenditure on tiffin and refreshment, fully taxable. Be careful, it is not tiffin or refreshment facility, it is allowances. Tiffin allowances fully taxable. Medical allowances, it is not medical facility. First of all, difference whether it is a perquisite, whether it is an allowance. If monthly payment is given to you, it is an allowances. It is not a perquisite. There is a difference between how to treat perquisite and how to treat allowances. As per income tax law, there are two different way to treat it. Medical allowance, monthly payment without considering whether any person from your family or you yourself incurred any expenditure on medical ground. It will these allowances will be given to you. It will be fully taxable. Servant allowance, for example, domestic cook is provided to you. Domestic cook allowance provided to you. It is fully taxable. Non-practicing allowance. For example, suppose you are a doctor. You are hired by a hospital. You are hired by a hospital, and nearby that hospital, you open your chamber. From 5 to 7, you are sitting in your chamber, and for remaining day, you are working with your hospital. Is it possible you may influence the patient आप मेरे चेंबर में आके चेकअप करा लीजिए. It is not in interest of your employer. So he may say that you are not supposed to practice. Sir, that is my right. I can practice. I am giving you some extra money to you. You are not supposed to practice. If you are getting that type of allowances, that is fully taxable. Deputation allowance. Suppose you are transferred to some other, places for temporary period. Then you may incur some more expenditure on your fooding or on your stay, boarding and lodging. Then your some money, extra money is supposed to pay to you for deputation, fully taxable. Entertainment allowance, fully taxable. However, in case of government employees, certain deductions is available under section 16(2) from entertainment allowance, which we will discuss afterwards. Got it? Any question till now? Any question till now? Till now? I think it is clear to all of you. Come to, I'm bypassing this house and allowance, and now first we are going into this one. Allowance deduction of which depends on actual expenditure. That means it is a category 1 allowance. That means if you incurred that expenditure, then you will get exemption, then you will get deduction from your money. Otherwise, it is fully taxable. Travel or transfer allowance. These are the only names suggested. There may be n number of allowances. You are supposed to examine the purpose of that allowance and accordingly consider whether how much it will be taxable, how much it is exempted, whether it is fully taxable or fully exempted. Got it? Travel or transfer allowance. Suppose you are working on it, you are going on a tour, an official tour. Okay. Cost, you may incur more expenditure like cost of traveling. You require packing and transportation facility for your personal goods. Then your employer is paying certain money to you for incurring for these expenditure. Whatever be your actual expenditure, if you incurred certain actual expenditure to that extent, money is exempted from that allowances. Daily allowances. Suppose you are on tour and you required some money for incurring day-to-day expenditure. इसको ऐसे भी किया जा सकता है. Think about a person, Mr. X. Think about the company's psychology. Think big. Mr. X is working with, say, Cipla. Cipla is a pharma company. Mr. X is a sales executive of Cipla Limited. He is visiting doctors. He is visiting various doctors at various cities or various places. So most of time he is out of town. So if his company say that whatever expenditure you incur on your tour, we will reimburse you. Whatever expenditure you incurred on your tour, we will reimburse entire expenditure to you. If this type of facility is provided to Mr. X, do you think he will stay below 5-star hotel? He will transport from one city to another city by suppose car. He may accelerate entire expenditure, though he have actual vouchers, though he have actual incurred certain expenditure, but there is no control how much expenditure he may incur by on this tour. Is it possible to control this expenditure? Any suggestion? You people are from cost background. Any suggestion to Cipla Limited for restrict this type of? It might be some expenditure might be wasteful. He may stay at 2-star or 3-star hotel. Instead of that, he may stay at 5-star hotel. What is your suggestion to Cipla Limited. How to control this cost? Control this cost. Someone is asking, does perquisite also taxable? Yes, perquisite is also taxable, but that is we will discuss afterwards. As a cost students, can you help Cipla Limited? How could they control this? Cipla, the expenditure side is open to any amount. Suppose he visits for his tour extended to 100 days, then he may incur expenditure of rupees more than 10 lakh, 20 lakh, any amount he may incur by staying at 5-star hotel and by entering by using the car instead of Wagner, he may use Rolls Royce. There is one way to control the expenditure. Look, Mr. X, you are supposed to cover this cities for each number of day. For each number of day, we will grant you rupees 1000. Each number of day of your tour, we will grant rupees 1000. अब इसमें आपको कैसे करना है वो आप समझ लो. For each kilometer you travel, we will grant you 5 rupees. अब आप इसमें कार में जाइए, हवाई जहाज में जाइए या कैसे भी जाइए, इट्स अप टू यू. 1000 रुपीज हम लोग आपको खाना पीना सबके लिए दे रहे हैं. आप 5-स्टार में खाइए या कहीं और खाइए. वी डोंट बोदर अबाउट दैट थिंग. बाय दिस वे, at least Cipla Limited have certain control over expenditure or not. This is known as daily allowances. Actual expenditure shall be deductible as a deduction or exemption, and remaining amount is taxable. Got it? Any question? Got the way to control this expenditure? This is known as daily allowances. Whatever actual expenditure incurred by Mr. X, it will be fully deductible and remaining amount shall be fully taxable. Conveyance allowance. Suppose Mr. X is working with A Limited. His office is situated here. A Limited office is situated over here, and for some work, Mr. X is supposed to visit here. Mr. X is coming here and again going to his office. He is supposed to incur conveyance. He is supposed to incur some conveyance expenditure. A Limited will give rupees 1000 per month as a conveyance. Now, whatever the actual expenditure incurred by Mr. X for this conveyance shall be treated as an deduction. Say 700 he incurred, then remaining 300 shall be taxable. Got it? Any question till now? Any question till now? Helper and assistant allowance. What is it? Suppose you are on a higher post of a company, some management post. Now what you are your company says that since appoint your secretary, whatever you require, whatever you like, you may appoint your secretary. What we will give you for appointment of your secretary, for your secretary's salary, we will grant you only 10,000 per month. Now, with whom you are comfortable, you may hire as your secretary. It's up to you. You are supposed to pay salary to her or him. but we will grant you maximum of rupees 10,000 per month. In that situation, if the secretary hired by Mr. A is taking salary of 7,000 per month from him, then 7,000 will be exempted, balance 3,000 will be taxable. And if his secretary got 17,000 per month from Mr. A, then nothing shall be exempt, taxable, entire amount shall be exempted. Got it? That is called uh, helper or assistant allowance. But in any circumstances, it is not related to your domestic helper. It is helper or assistant. In what sense? Assistant or helper for your official work. Research allowance. Suppose you are a cost, you are supposed to become a cost accountant. After couple of years forward, you become a cost accountant. At present, we are discussing our tax rate like 2.5 lakh. Up to 2.5 lakh nil is the tax amount. For next 2.5 lakh, it will be 5%. We discussed that thing, 20%, 30%. We discussed all this part. Do you remember this one? Do you remember this one? Do you remember this one? Do you remember this tax slab? Suppose Mr. A, among you, Mr. A is there. Among you, Mr. A is there. After becoming CMA, he is appointed as tax executive at Reliance Industries Limited. Okay. The company asked, please prepare the tax liability of, say, senior director or whatever with that name. He suppose his director is earning 10 lakh, he calculate tax accordingly as per this slab. However, 2 years after 2 years, the slab might be revised, and as per revised slab, up to 10 lakh nil tax is applicable. After that 20 lakh, it is 20%, and so whatever. There is a no new slab incorporated into income tax law in future. Your employer is saying that, Mr. A, you computed my tax liability on 10 lakh income amounting to rupees 1,12,500. But as per my knowledge, up to 10 lakh nil is taxable. Nice, sir. Your knowledge is not correct. जो मैंने पढ़ा है, as per me, up to 2.5 lakh it is nil. For next it is 5% and so on. Sir, you are wrong. Mr. is saying, sir क्या बात कर रहे हो? यही तो पढ़ के मैं एग्जाम में पास हुआ. इवन सीएमए इंस्टीट्यूट की एग्जाम में मैंने ऐसा ही एक क्वेश्चन आया था, उसमें मैंने यही आंसर लिखा था एंड आई गॉट फुल मार्क्स. व्हाट्स रॉन्ग विथ मिस्टर ए? डिड यू नोटिस समथिंग रॉन्ग विथ मिस्टर ए? डिड यू नोटिस समथिंग रॉन्ग विथ मिस्टर ए? Did you notice something wrong with Mr. A? The wrong is that he is not updated. Though he was correct at one point of time, but after 2 years or 3 years down the line, this slab might be changed and he is not applying this slab for that point of time. This is the mistake. He might be correct at one point of time by using this slab, but he is not correct at after 2 years or 5 years down the line. That is the mistake of Mr. A. Why this mistake happened? Because he is not updated. His professional knowledge is not updated. So what is required? His employer says, Mr. A, you are a good student, but do one thing, bought some new books, do some professional research, keep yourself updated. सर क्यों हम खर्चा करें, हम तो सीएमए बन चुका, क्यों एक्सपेंडिचर हम इंकर करें? For your betterment, you are supposed to incur certain professional development expenses. Don't worry, company will take care of the expenditure. Just got rupees, we will pay 10,000 rupees to you for your development. If Mr. A incurred rupees 8,000, then remaining 2,000 shall be taxable and balance shall be exempt. That is known as professional development allowances or research allowances or academic allowances. Got it? Got it? Got it? Any question till now? Someone is saying that please in English. I'm again repeating that example in English. Here, Mr. A is correct one point of time by using this 2.5 lakh slab. At the time he is passing, he is giving his examination for CMA. At that for that year, the slab of income tax was 2.5 lakh, and next 2.5 it is 5%, 20%, and so on. But after a couple of years, the slab has been revised. The slab was revised up to 10 lakh it is nil, next to 10 lakh it is 20%, like that one. But he is not updated. His employer is saying that you are supposed to keep yourself updated. For that thing, we are providing you rupees 10,000, and he incurred say rupees 8,000, then remaining 2,000 shall be taxable in his hand. That type of allowances is known as professional development allowance or research allowances or academic allowances. Got it? Got it? He should be updated. Don't you think so? He should be updated. He should be updated. But since he is reluctant, that is the not the way. So his employer is trying to update yourself, provide certain money. If you incur some expenditure against that allowance, that will be deductible, that is fully allowed, that is fully exempted, and remaining part is taxable. Uniform allowance, we already took the example of this one, and there is one other allowance in comparison to uniform allowance, that is dress allowance. Dress allowance is fully taxable. Uniform allowance, to the extent of expenditure incurred by you, it is fully exempted. Remaining amount shall be taxable. However, in case of dress allowances, it is fully taxable. Any question till now? Here, what are the tax treatment of these allowances? Actual amount received or actual expenditure incurred for such purpose, whichever is lower shall be fully exempted. Balance is taxable. Now, our category 2 allowances. Allowances, the deduction depends on threshold limits. There are certain limits of that expenditure. Among these, number one allowances is children education allowance. An allowance to meet the expenses in connection with education of children by whatever name called. It might be children allowance, it might be children education allowance, it might be children shiksha allowance, whatever be the name called. The purpose is important, name is not important. Treatment. Minimum of the following is exempt from tax. Rupees 1,000 per month per child subject to maximum of 2 child, or actual amount received for each child to the maximum of 2 children. Whichever is lower is exempt. For example, Mr. Lalu Singh received education allowance of rupees 80 per month for his first child, 90 per month for his second child, and rupees 120 per month for his third child. He also received hostel allowance. We are not going into that hostel allowance. None of his children are studying. Find taxable children allowance and hostel allowance. How much money he's receiving? Rupees 80 plus 90 plus 120. That is per month. How much money he is getting? You calculate for me. 290 per month. Multiply by 12. What will be the quantum? What will be the amount? Could you help me? $290 into 12. He is getting rupees 3,480 per annum. So this is a children education allowance. How many kids he have? He have 3 kids. Maximum deduction for this allowance is available for only for 2 kids. Maximum, this is the written in the statute book, so we are supposed to calculate accordingly. He have 3 kids, but for the purpose of income tax law, the deduction is available maximum for 2 kids. The deduction for children education allowance is available for 2 kids, and there is a limit to. What is the limit? Rupees 100 per month, per kid, per child, or actual allowance, whichever is lower. Can you help Mr. Lalu Singh for calculating his exempted figure? How much will be exempted? Anyone? Anyone? For first kid, he's getting 80, for another 90, for third one 120. So 100 is the limit, 100 or 80, whichever is lower, 80. For this person, for this kid, 100 or 90, whichever is lower, 90. For this kid, 120 or 100, whichever is lower, 100. But the exemption or deduction is available for maximum of 2 children. Either to take benefit of for this, either to take for benefit for this or this one. Which one is more beneficial? Anyone? 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 And one another way to calculate this exemption, he is allowed 100 rupees per month for 2 kids into 12 months equal to 2400. Out of this 3480, he is allowed to claim deduction of rupees 2400. There are 4 combinations. Number 1, to claim 2400 as an exemption. A. Number B, this combo 80 plus 90 into 12. Combo C, 90 plus 100 into 12. And number D, 80 plus 100 into 12. Which one is the correct? Anyone? Dear friend, be careful. When information is given regarding per child allowances, you are not supposed to calculate on aggregate basis. First thing, if information regarding allowances is given on per child basis, then you cannot claim, you cannot calculate exemption on aggregate basis. Is it fine? Number 2, now just calculate which combination is beneficial to him. I believe this is most beneficial situation for him. This is the most beneficial. If he claim this one, then his exemption will be on lower side. Here, this is the ideal exemption limit where he can claim, where his exemption can be maximized. That means 190 into 12. Any question? Any question? That means you cannot do like this one. Aggregate 120 plus 90 comes to 210. For two kids, there are 200. Whichever is lower, 200, that means 24. You cannot do that thing. This is the wrong way to do this thing. If per child information is given, then you are supposed to consider exemption of rupees 100 with per child amount. That is 90 and 100 altogether. It is 190 into 12. That is the exempted amount. Remaining amount shall be taxable. Got it? Or there any question? Is it clear to you? Is it clear to you? Is it clear to you? Or do you have any question? Someone is asking that, sir, have mentioned as first child, second child, then how could I take third child and second child? There, in question, it is mentioned that for first child it is 90, for second child, first child it is 80, for second child it is 90, and for third child it is 120 per month. It is mentioned in the question. Okay, for which kids it is you are taking exemption, it is up to you. Okay. One more thing. One more thing. You did not notice one thing in this illustration. Though what he is getting, children education allowances. He is getting children education allowances. But here is the line. None of his children are studying. None of his children are studying. Still he is eligible for deduction. Still he is eligible for deduction. Dear friends, be careful. If something is allowed and exempted, depending on some limit, without any criteria, without any restriction, then whether he's getting children education allowance, while discussing children education allowance, we did not discuss that his children should be studied in a school, his children should be studied at a government school or private school. We did not discuss about anything. That means whether his kids are studying in any school or not studying in any school, deduction is available. Even his kids are major, they are married, the deduction is available. Do you think education is limited only to school? Do you think education is limited only to school? This is the very narrow definition of study, a very narrow definition of education. In life, we are getting some education. Don't you think so? Don't you think so? Got my point? It is not mentioned that actual school expenditure shall be compared. It is not mentioned over there. It is mentioned that rupees 100 per month or actual amount received for each child, subject to maximum of 2 children. That is the mentioned, and you are supposed to calculate the exemption considering these two riders only. There is no rider which states that there is actual expenditure for payment of fees, school fee. And don't define the meaning of education with narrow attitude. Education might be get not only from a school, it might be got from various resources. Got it? Is it clear? Is it clear? Is it clear to all? Do you have any question you may raise? Do you have any question you may raise? Now, one thing in my mind, what is the meaning of children? What is the meaning of child? What is the meaning of child? What is the meaning of child? Kids are kids. What is the meaning of kids? Whether it covers stepchild, whether it covered grandchild. What is your opinion? Here, the meaning of child includes adopted child, stepchild, but does not include illegitimate child and grandchild. Got it? Child may be major or minor. Deduction is available irrespective of actual expenditure incurred on education of child. Got it? Number 2 allowance, children hostel allowance. That means when you host a kid, your expenditure might be increased. It is not reflected with hostel. That is, we understood boarding school. That is not like this. To host a child. The exemption is 300 per month per child or actual amount received for each child subject to maximum of 2 children. That means instead of 100, the amount has been changed from 100 to 300. Remaining part are the same. Now solve this for both things. Children education we already solved. Children education for hostel allowance. For hostel allowance, information regarding per child is not given. So at this time, we will consider on aggregate basis. He is getting 1000 into 12. Total comes to 12,000. He have 3 kids, but since per child basis amount is not mentioned, it is aggregate amount. So his exemption is like this: 300 into 2 into 12. That is 3600, 7200. Remaining, this one is exempt and this one is taxable. Got it? Any question, any query till now? Is it clear? Now one more for your, please help me. Mr. and Mrs. X have 3 children and 2 of them are not studying. Both Mr. and Mrs. X are working in A Limited and getting children education allowance rupees 500 per month and hostel allowance rupees 1000 per month. Compute taxable children education allowance and hostel allowance. Please help. What will be the correct solution? Can I say that 500 per month? That means into 12 comes to 6,000 minus 2,400. That comes to 3,600 and 1,000 into 12. That is 12,000 minus 7,200. That is 4,800. 4378, 8,400 is taxable and this one is exempt. This 2,400 and 7,200 is exempt. Are you agree with me? Are you agree with me for this solution? Are you agree with me for this solution? $300, someone is asking 300 comes from Like children education allowance, the limit is 100 rupees. For children hostel allowance, the limit is 300 rupees. We discussed, given in the scenario that the children are not studying, then how he can claim the exemption. We already discussed that part. It is nothing linked with your actual expenditure. What is it? 120, what is it? What do you mean by this series? Now my question. I believe everyone agree with this solution, but my question is that who is entitled to claim this benefit? Both Mr. X and Mrs. X, both are getting this one. Mr. and Mrs. X both are getting this benefit of children education allowance and hostel allowance. Both children are the common. Mr. and Mrs. X have common children, don't you think so? Both have common children, say A, B, C. Then who is entitled to claim the benefit of this one, whether Mr. X or Mrs. X? Or some other calculation or some other solution will be there. For two kids, Mr. X, for one kid, for Mrs. X. Do you have any idea? Do you have any idea? Why someone is saying that only Mr. X can claim? Why not Mrs. X? Do you have any answer to this one? Someone is saying either Mr. X or Mrs. X. On what basis? Dear friends, in this situation, both will get the benefit of this. Both are entitled for this benefit. Both are entitled for this benefit. Don't be confused. Both are entitled for this benefit. Got it? Got it? Any question or any query? Any question or any query? Dear friends, did you notice what we are supposed to follow? If something is written in law, try to understand my comment. Something is specifically mentioned in the law, don't apply your mind. Just follow that one. Got my point? For example, in this scenario, where it is mentioned in while discussing this children education allowance, children hostel allowance, did we discuss that only either of the parents will got the deduction or got the benefit? We did not. Here something is fixed, something is freezed by the law. We are supposed to follow that law. We are not supposed to apply that mind. 100 rupees, where from 100 derive, where from 300 derive? This is the starting limit fixed by the government. Since it is fixed by the government, then government may also fix this type of situation. Since government did not bother about this type of situation, that means we are open. If something is freezed by law, don't apply your mind. This is the beauty of income tax law. Got it? Any question till now? Someone is saying that it won't be a twice benefit for some children. Yes, it is double benefit, but what can I do? But what can I do? The deduction is not linked with actual expenditure. The benefit is not the benefit is not linked with actual expenditure. Then how could you say that I'm getting double benefit? If this is a uniform allowance, if this is another allowance which is the exemption which is depends on actual expenditure, then I'm sure double benefit is not possible. Got my point? Don't jump into the clubbing provision. Clubbing is something else. I think the doubt regarding double benefit, is it clear in your mind? If where law is clear, don't take any assumption. Got it? Is it clear in your mind what we are supposed to do? However, if we are discussing our same illustration, if we are doing same illustration instead of children education, we are here taking as a helper allowance. Okay. Or some professional development allowance. I think professional development will be far better example. We are taking professional development allowance. Okay. His employer, Mr. X and Mrs. X, both got say 12,000 as a professional development allowance. Okay. They bought some boots and incurred rupees say 5,000. Both are sharing that boots. Both are sharing the that boots. In that situation, since expenditure, since deduction is available considering the actual expenditure, you cannot use twice. Since if 5,000 is taken care by Mr. Deduction is taken by Mr. X, then Mrs. X shall not get the benefit of this. Got it? Is it clear? Is it clear? Someone still have confusion regarding double benefit. There is no double benefit. Dear friend, if the law here, the children education allowance, the law is saying that maximum 2 children is available, 100 rupees per month, then is it, don't you think government will also presume this type of situation regarding Mr. and Mrs. X both are working? Government can also presume this type of situation, but government did not dictate any law regarding this. So follow the law. What is the law? If I am getting children education allowance, then up to 2 children, I am eligible for rupees 100 per month. Similarly, my wife is also eligible. Got it? However, the case is not so easy in case of professional development allowance. Why? Because it is directly linked with actual expenditure. Here, Mr. X has incurred rupees 5,000 on boots, and Mrs. X is sharing those boots only. So Mrs. X did not incur any expenditure, so she cannot use this invoice for claiming deductions. This is double benefit. If Mrs. X is also claiming the same invoice, same here, this is tantamount to double benefit because she is not incurred any expenditure for buying these books. Who incurred this expenditure? Only Mr. X has incurred this expenditure. Got it? Any question? Any query? Now comes to our next allowance, truck drivers allowance. On the same line, like we discussed with Cipla and etc. On the same line, there is a truck driver allowance. Suppose from Rajasthan to Kerala. Suppose Mr. A is a truck driver. He is employed with, say, a transport company, Raj Kerala Transport. Mr. A is working with Raj Kerala Transport Corporation and he's a truck driver. What is his duty? Deliver goods from Rajasthan to Kerala. It will take around, say, 10 days. It will in transit. It will take around 10 days. So his employer says, look, Mr. A, whatever expenditure you incur, we will reimburse you. Again, same problem. He may stay during the night. He may stay instead of some reasonable place. He may stay in 5-star hotels, etc. So to curtail down this type of expenditure, income tax suggested one way: whatever allowance, fixed allowance is given by the employer to Mr. A, lower of this shall be exempted. Lower of this shall be treated as an exemption. What is it? 70% of allowance or rupees 10,000 per month, whichever is lower shall be exempted. If the organization is giving rupees 12,000 per month to employ Mr. A as a truck driver allowance, then 12,000 per month he is getting, the lower of the following: 70% of 12,000. What will be the amount? I think 8,400. 12 7 ja? No, 12 6 is 72. 8,400 or rupees 10,000 per month, whichever is lower. Whichever is lower, 8,400 is lower. That means out of this 12,000 per month, 8,400 is exempted, and remaining, I think remaining is 3,600. Remaining 3,600 per month is taxable. Got it? Any question? Any query? Is it clear to you? Transport allowance. What is the meaning of transport allowance? From office to work, from office to home, sorry, from office to home and from home to office. You might incur certain expenditure for this one. Your employer is good. Your employer is providing you allowances called transport allowance. Transport allowance is available for deduction if SSE is blind, deaf and dumb, or orthopedically handicapped. That means Divyang. For Divyang people, these allowances are there. Otherwise, it is fully taxable. If the SSE is a blind, if the employee is a blind, deaf and dumb, or orthopedically handicapped, then certain deduction is available. Otherwise, it is fully taxable. If the person is handicapped, then actual amount received to the extent, maximum to the extent of 3,200 per month, it is exempted. Otherwise, it is fully taxable. For example, suppose Mr. X is there. Suppose Mr. X is there. He is a handicapped person. He is getting 5,000 as transport allowance. Case 2, 3,000 as a transport allowance per month. What will the exempted out of this figure? In case 5,000, we will compare this 5,000 with 3,200. Whichever is lower, 3,200 is lower. Remaining 1,800 shall be taxable. Here we will compare 3,000 with 3,200. Whichever is lower, 3,000 is lower. That means nil will be taxable. Got it? If that person is not handicapped, not deaf and dumb, not blind, in that situation, entire 5,000 or entire 3,000 shall be taxable. Any question till now? Allowance to government employee working outside India. If you are a government employee, you are a citizen of India and you are working outside India, then whatever allowance you are getting from your government of India, whatever perquisite you are getting outside India by government of India, then it is fully exempted. You are not supposed to pay any tax on it. Then what will be taxable? Basic salary is taxable. Any allowance or perquisite shall be exempted if these three conditions are fulfilled. You are a government employee, you are a citizen of India, and you are working outside India. Then allowances or perquisite paid by the government of India to you shall be fully tax free. You are not supposed to pay any tax on it. Got it? Other allowances. Allowances received from United Nations Organization, UNO. Full basic salary or allowances paid by UNO to its employee are not taxable. Fully tax free. Basic salary or whatever allowance, whatever you miss, what type of allowance you are getting, if you are employee of UNO, it is fully exempted. Can I say that children education allowance, Mr. X is working, Mr. X is working with UNO and he is getting children education allowance of rupees 5,000 per month for his single child. Can you suggest what will be the exempted amount? What will be the amount of exemption if Mr. X is working with UNO and he is getting 5,000 per month as a children education allowance for his only child? Since he is working with UNO, entire amount, irrespective, you are not supposed to do this thing 100 into 1 into 12. This is not applicable. Entire amount, since he is working with United Nations Organization, entire basic salary as well as allowance are fully tax free. Any question? Oh, someone is asking very interesting question. Working outside India and citizen of India, how it can be, sir? If you're working outside India, do you think you become a non-citizen? Yeah, friends, there are so many people in embassy, ambassador. They are working outside India, but they are citizen of India. Got it? Compensatory allowance, which is given under Article 222, sub-article 2 of the Constitution, fully exempt. Allowance to judges of High Court or the Supreme Court. There are some sumptuary allowances are provided to judges of High Court or Supreme Court, that is fully conditioned, fully exempted. Any question till now? Any question till now? Do you have any question? You may raise your question right now. Transport allowance. If you are getting transport allowance, if you are working with a transport company and you are getting transport allowance, then whatever the quantum of allowance you are getting, 70% of the money, that means 70% of the allowance or rupees 10,000 per month, whichever is lower shall be exempted. For example, you are getting 12,000 per month as a transport truck driver allowance, then 70% of this 12,000 comes to 8,400 or 10,000, whichever is lower shall be exempted, remaining amount shall be taxable. And transport allowance, if the SSC, that means the employee, is blind, deaf and dumb or orthopedically handicapped, then transport allowance to the extent of 3,200 rupees per month is exempted. Over and above this limit shall be taxable. However, if the SSC is neither a blind nor deaf and dumb nor orthopedically handicapped, entire amount received in the name of transport allowance shall be taxable, fully taxable. Someone is asking that helper allowance covered under section 1014(1) when it is fully taxable. You are getting helper allowance and you did not appointed any helper. In that situation, it will be fully taxable. Someone is asking if sir transport company is government company. No, who said this one? I again repeating, if we are discussing certain law provision, don't attach your riders. Whatever the riders are there, we are discussing. Don't attach riders from your side. Don't attach conditions from your side. While applying transport truck driver allowance or transport allowance, did we discuss that employer should be a government company or it should not be a government company? We did not discuss about all these things. Don't attach riders from your side. Someone is asking that truck driver will pay the remaining tax. That the truck driver income will be calculated this way. If his total income exceed 2,50,000, then he is liable to pay tax. HRA, today I am unable to complete HRA due to the shortage of time. In next session, we will complete this HRA and jump to the perquisites. Suppose Mr. X is CA and Mrs. X is engineer, then what is the meaning? I am unable. Then what to do? Any question? Do you have any question, any query till now? Do you enjoy the session? Someone is asking what type of people get helper allowance. This is not cup of tea. Our cup of tea. If someone is getting helper allowance, how it will be treated, we are supposed to discuss that part. Got it? In general, big scientists, big managerial personnel are getting this one. The PPT will be available at ecoursepoint.com after completion of the chapter. Shall I conclude the session? Hopefully it is you enjoy with this chapter, and in next session we will cover this house rent allowance, and then we will shift to perquisites. Salary is a big lengthy chapter. Be careful and try to revise your things. If you fail to revise, then income tax is very volatile subject. It will not be in your mind. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Such a wonderful session, sir. Thank you. Thank you, students, for participation.
Next Wednesday, we are meeting around at 2 o'clock.
Okay, sir. Okay. Good day, sir.
Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you, sir. Good day. Good day, students. Bye-bye.